Cheap Dynasty wide receiver dart throws that you can probably add on to a trade or buy for the low right now. The first is Rashid Shaheed, who is valued at 142 overall on KeepTradeCut.com. The big play threat is evident through the numbers: number 10 in average depth of target, number 15 in deep targets, number 35 in air yards, number 17 in yards per target, and number 15 in yards per reception this year. Fantasy flashes: week 1, 19 points, week 6, 18.3 points, week 8, 24.3 points, week 16, 18.4, and week 18, 15.5. Those are very flex-worthy scores. Receiving yard upside: weeks of 89, 63, 85, 153, 70, and 65 yards. So sometimes when it comes to flex plays, we look for high upside guys, and that's what he has been this year. So if he continues to grow in his role and earn more targets, that can translate well for fantasy football. Demario Douglas, valued at 144 overall on KeepTradeCut.com. Target volume this past year: 78 total targets through 14 games. That's 5.6 per game, 6 weeks of 7+ targets. He earned 14 more targets than any other Patriot in 2023. Douglas finished number 25 for the position in yards after the catch, showing some playmaking ability. 5 weeks of double-digit fantasy points. This guy was a 6th-round rookie, and he led the Patriots wide receiver room. I think that just says a lot about what his role was year 1. I don't know if he's going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots moving forward, but I think he can continue to have a substantial role. Wan'Dale Robinson, valued at 151 overall. Looking at his profile: 104 receptions for 1,334 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns at Kentucky back in 2021. Through 14 games, he was selected by the Giants in the 2nd round of the 2022 draft. Rookie season, weeks 6 and 7, Wan'Dale finishes the wide receiver 29 and wide receiver 35. In week 11, he was on his way to breaking out with a stat line of 9 catches on 13 targets for 100 yards, which was 19.4 fantasy points, but unfortunately he tore his ACL in that game. In 2023, 78 targets in 15 games played following tearing his ACL. Wan'Dale Robinson was only 1 target behind from leading the Giants while playing in 2 less games. 5 weeks of double-digit fantasy points. Heated up at the end of the season: 17.5 points in week 14, then 19.9 in week 17. Primarily a slot wide receiver with a huge volume resume coming out of college. I think the fact that he tore his ACL in 2022, then in 2023 he continued to have a substantial role, says a lot. I truly think Wan'Dale Robinson moving forward could be the number 1 target for the Giants as a reliable slot option. Right now, I think he's the most talented wide receiver in that room. I want to mention Khalil Shakir, whose value probably went up through the NFL playoffs. During the regular season, 6 catches for 92 receiving yards in week 8 for 15.2 fantasy points. 3 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown for 20.5 points in week 11. 6 catches for 105 yards for 16.5 points in week 18. Through the postseason, 3 receptions for 31 yards and a touchdown in the wild card round. He followed that up in the divisional with 7 catches on 9 targets for 44 yards and a touchdown. We know historically Josh Allen has had a connection with his slot wide receiver back in the Colt Beasley days. Gabe Davis is going to be a free agent who plays a different wide receiver position technically because he's out wide and Khalil Shakir is in the slot, but that could mean that Shakir is the wide receiver 2 on the team, which with Josh Allen's passing volume could be a good thing even with Stephon Diggs and Dalton Kincaid. And then last, I know a lot of people are out on him, but Treylon Burks, rookie season, he was selected in the 1st round of the 2022 NFL Draft, 54 targets as a rookie, number 32 in yards per reception, number 32 in yards per route run. 2023, he struggled to stay on the field. 4 weeks of 11.5 plus yards per catch, though. Both seasons, he only played 11 games. One positive thing, though, is Brian Callahan was hired as the new head coach for the Titans, who was previously the Bengals offensive coordinator. Obviously, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are good at football, but knowing their success, I would say it's a good thing for the wide receiver room. So we're throwing a dart here on Treylon Burks that number 1, this head coaching hire is a bump for him. Number 2, he stays healthy. And number 3, he proves to us why he was selected in the 1st round. He could be the wide receiver 2 with DeAndre Hopkins there easily, right? And if DeAndre Hopkins is not in the future plan of the Titans, he could be the wide receiver 1 there.